Welcome to My Life, My Songs. I'm Jimmy Fortune, your host, and I am so proud today to have one of my best friends in the whole wide world on the show with me today, Mr. Blue-Eyed Soul himself, Mr. T. Graham Brown. Thank you, brother.
I love you, Jimmy.
I love you too, buddy, with all my heart, man.
I'm so happy you got a show like this.
Well, man, I tell you what, it's a God thing. A lot of God things in my life, but you being on here is going to make it even better because I know people want to hear your story. And here, you know,
I got a bunch of them.
I want to go back to your childhood, man. I want to hear about T. Graham Brown as a child and how you kind of started realizing that you wanted to be in the music business.
Wow. You know, Mama told me I was always going around singing.
Well,
and you know, we went to a little Baptist church. Mm-hmm. I spent my boyhood years in this little town called Araby in South Georgia. There's 300 people live there.
Yeah.
And you know, we had a little old lady playing piano at the church, and we sang all the Broadman hymnal hymns,
yeah.
And you know, went to Sunday school.
Kind of like my family, I guess.
Yeah, but like a lot of Southern families. And there was a railroad track that went down the middle of Araby. Mm-hmm. And in the 60s, when I was there, all the white people lived on one side of the tracks, all the black people lived on the other side of the track. And our house was right there at the railroad track, our backyard. And I would sleep with the window open. We didn't have air conditioning. And the first band that I ever heard was the band in the black church.
Wow.
Coming across the tracks. So that was the first band I ever heard. And then Otis Redding was from Macon, which was 70 miles to the north. So I listened to him, and I listened to this little 5,000 watt AM station, WMJM, 1490 since 1940, and they were totally unformatted. I mean, they'd have the farm reports and all that, but the music they played would be, they might play a Johnny Cash song and then a Beatles song and then Jerry Lee Lewis and then Aretha Franklin and just all George Jones, all over the place.
Now, you got to tell me about this, the great credibility scare of 1986. Can you tell me about that?
Well, that was something Steve Earle said.
Oh, what?
Yeah. There was a bunch of us came out that same year. Our first records really came out. Randy Travis, Keith Whitley, Marty Stewart, Dwight Yoakam, Steve Earle, me, and the girls, I guess maybe Patty Loveless. I can't remember what year she came out. And that's what Steve called it, the great credibility scare of 1986. I got this great picture, man, that I found of, we were all up for Academy of Country Music Awards Best Newcomer, male newcomer. And there's a picture of, Marty and Keith and me and Randy, and Billy Burnett was also nominated. He went on to be in Fleetwood Mac. But it's a picture, we look like babies, man. It's amazing. We were so young, but I think that he just meant that, you know, I came out with horns on my records, and Steve and them were twanging, and Keith was just and Randy were just the greatest country voices, and Marty was kind of country rock, bluegrassy, and
you were kind of leaning toward the Delbert McClinton sound a little bit.
Kind of, yeah. Delbert was one of
Which is one of my favorites.
Yeah, he was one of my singing heroes, and I love Delbert.
Yeah.
I grew up listening to Delbert. But it was funny, before I moved to Nashville, the records I was listening to was Earl Thomas Conley, Mo Bandy. I had a bunch of Mo Bandy records. Of course, Merle and George and and all the soul guys,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I sure am glad that country music incorporated that soul sound.
I'm kind of surprised, actually. You know, the thing of it is I moved to Nashville and I started singing songwriter demos for folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I was singing at Tree a lot, and Terry Choate was working at Tree, you know Terry, and he moved to Capitol Records, and he was very instrumental in getting me. I probably wouldn't even be sitting here if it weren't for Terry. But I never had declared country or R&B or anything, and I tell it like it used to be, and they put it out, and country radio started playing, so therefore I was country.
Right.
I was on the country chart, so that meant I was a country guy, you know, and thank goodness for it.
We'll be right back with more My Life, My Songs right here after this. Welcome back to My Life, My Songs. Well, tell me, how was it with hooking up with Kenny Rogers in your career?
Well, it was great, man. You know, like I said, we put out I Tell It Like It Used to Be, and it was luckily an immediate hit. So I kind of hit right out of the box, and they put me on tour with Kenny Rogers, and that was when he was the biggest thing on the planet.
It's like when the Statler Brothers hooked up with Johnny Cash. I mean,
yes,
for 8 years.
yeah. And I was thrown from. I noticed you got Bluebird sign back here. Bluebird Cafe is listed on one of these signs, and that's the place I got my record deal. And it was like going from the Bluebird in a small, intimate place like that to playing the biggest arenas in North America. I mean, I was immediately thrown in front of 20,000 people. Well, but I figured it out pretty quick. But yeah, back then we played every major arena in North America. It was always great. Kenny sold out all the shows. I got to work with, I was always the opening act, and a lot of times there was a middle act, and it would be either Glenn Campbell or Eddie Rabbitt or Barbara Mandrell or Reba or Dolly. You know, it was always big acts like that. So I got to hang around a lot of neat people and get to know them, and they actually liked me. And you know, man, I tell people I came along at a great time, Jimmy. I got to work with and get to know what I call the one-name people. Right. George and Tammy and Loretta and Conway and Willie and Waylon and Merle and Kenny and Dolly. So I've just had a wonderful career, man.
But man, you've not been shy about being addicted to alcohol in your life, and you talk about it quite a bit. And I know there's a lot of people out there that struggle with it, but man, you have one of the most positive stories of the outcome of being an alcoholic. And so if you don't mind sharing a little bit of that with us.
Oh, I don't mind. Yeah. You know, I just started off in college, you know, and it kind of just built up over the years to where it was really a 24-hour thing. And I'd get on a horse and ride a while and fall off, and get on a horse and ride a while and fall off. And one day I woke up, man, it's kind of an old cliche of a story, but I got up one morning and I was hungover and feeling nauseated and headache and ashen-faced, and I looked in the mirror. I was just sick and tired of being tired and sick, man. And I looked in the mirror, and I asked myself, I said, what are you doing, man? You're just about to blow everything. You know, you're smarter than this. And I asked God to help me out. And you know what? I have not had a craving since that moment. And that's been probably 12 years ago now, maybe. And it's just a miracle. It's just a miracle. And you know, Bruce Birch and Ted Hewitt and I wrote the song Wine in the Water, and I sing it, and it's a prayer to God for sobriety.
One of the best ever written, I must say.
Oh, well, thank you, man. And it can be about any kind of addiction, you know, food, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is. Right. And I get these messages from people all the time. I was reading one to Sheila on the way out here today. A guy wrote me on Facebook, and he said, man, I've been sober for 9 years. thanks to Wine into Water. Anytime I'm tempted to pick up a bottle, I listen to Wine into Water, and I just want you to know that you're helping people's lives, and God bless you. And it's all God, it ain't me. But I hear these stories from people, Jimmy, just about every day, of people who are going to kill themselves, or just stories of deliverance and redemption that just God is using Wine into Water to help folks.
You know, not only did you write songs, but you've written commercials. Tell me about some of your favorite commercials that you've done.
Well, I've written a few, but I sang more than I wrote. But golly, I was the Taco Bell.
Now I love the Taco Bell story.
This is like 30 years ago.
That this is one hilarious story, and I don't know if you would share it with the people, but I would love if you would.
Well, I got some funny ones. I was the Taco Bell guy for 4 years. I was on TV, and I sang them all. People have flipped the channel on me so many times that they don't realize, on radio and TV, because now I don't know the thing that you're saying, but I'm guessing.
When you were with the plane and you went and they wanted you to ride the plane or something,
well,
and they had a stunt man to get on the plane, but you said, no, I'm going to do my own stunt.
Oh, I did this thing called Wing Walker, and they had a biplane. And we were out in California, and I got on that thing, man, and we took off. We went up to 5,000 feet, and we had these mountains in the background, so they could see. And then, so the guy would give me the stand-up. The pilot would give me the stand-up thing. Well, I had some wire running down in my blue jeans.
But still.
I couldn't fall off the thing. But so he would go, and then he would dive and do a 360 and come back up. And so I was up there 30 minutes, man, and the prop wash, from the propeller was hitting me in the eyes. My eyelids were doing like that.
I can't imagine. Because he's probably running at 200 miles an hour.
No, we were going 140. And when I got down, my shirt was ripped up. But what it was they had these they had 5 stunt men dressed just like me, and I said no. I said, I got to at least try it. And they said, no, you can't do it. You'll be sick and all this. And I said, I got to at least try. So I did it, and when we landed, I couldn't see for about 15 minutes. But when we landed, all these stunt guys came up and just got me and patted me on the back and said, you're in the club, buddy. You're in the club.
I reckon so, man.
So that was fun. And it lasted for 4 years. But then the bad part is, the humiliating part is, I got replaced by a talking Chihuahua. And that was kind of embarrassing.
Oh, I bet they didn't put him on a plane, make him ride on it.
No, but man, I've done every car and truck.
I always laughed at that story. We'll be right back with more My Life, My Songs after this. Welcome back to My Life, My Songs with your host, Jimmy Fortune. Tell me about your first '1 song, Hell and High Water.
Well, I went to... I got a writing deal from CBS Songs.
You wrote that with Alex Harvey, too.
Yeah, and CBS Songs wound up today being EMI. Well, I think it's called Sony now. Sony owns everything, but so I think it's Sony now. But at the time, there was only 10 writers over there, and Alex Harvey was one of them. And we would get together like on a Wednesday night. The writers would sing their newest songs. So I sang a song, and it had a line in it that Alex liked, and he walked up and whispered in my ear, we need to get together and write that song right there. But anyway, I went out to Alex's house, had a '63 Volkswagen, all rusted out, red. It started out red, it had been bleached out, it was kind of pink looking. And we went down in his basement and wrote Hell and High Water.
That's a great song.
And you hear these people, I wrote that in 30 minutes, which is usually a lie.
Yeah.
Or if you write a song in 30 minutes, it's a lot of times not very good. But it came out really quick. And
well, it's incredible.
We tried to get it cut all over town. Nobody would cut it. And Capitol Records, it was still sitting there when I got a deal. And they said, cut it. And I said, man, don't kill my career before we get started. I didn't think it was any good. At the time, I had no confidence. I figured anything that had my name on it couldn't be very good. And we cut it, and then Capitol said, we're going to put it out. And I went, oh, no, man.
It's so
and they put it out, and it was #1.
Well, I mean, The song is a song, but when you breathe life into a song, when you sing it, you really do. I mean, the song's a great song and well written, but when you sing a song, man, you are truly running through your soul. When you
I
do
just
it.
like singing, man.
I know you do.
I just really like it.
That's
and,
what I love to
I'm
watch.
out there still doing shows, and people ask me if I get tired of these songs, and I don't.
No.
You know, people would think, oh, you're just kidding, man. You've sung them for me. You got to get tired of them. But I really don't. I enjoy them, and you know, those songs brought us to the party. So
That's right. I never get tired of doing Elizabeth. You know, so if somebody's looking back, singing it to you, or it means something to them. You know, those fans out there, man. That's what keeps us going. That's why, you know, I don't like singing into a computer and doing these things online. I'd rather get in front of the people and sing it. And when you do, it brings out that heart and that soul that you have, and that adrenaline gets to pumping, boy. And I mean,
well, we're gradually getting back to work. You know,
Right.
The COVID's hopefully getting over with, and we did a couple of shows this past week in Missouri, and man, the audience. I don't know if they were liking me or just liking being out of the house, because boy, they were so enthusiastic.
I tell you worked with some of the best in the business, and one of the best is George Jones. Now you got to give me a George Jones story somewhere along the line here, buddy, because I know you loved him. I know he's your hero.
Well, the first time I ever met him, we were playing at the Cincinnati Gardens, and I opened the show, and George watched me, and he'd heard of me, I guess, and heard records. Anyway, he sent for me, and I was scared to death.
I'll imagine so.
And I went to his bus, and he was so complimentary. He said, man, this was probably on a weekend. He said, I want you to come to my place on Monday. I want to take you out for lunch at a meat and three, you know, where you get a meat and three vegetables.
Yeah.
So I went over there that Monday, and I remember he took me. He was driving this brand new Continental, and I was sitting in the passenger seat, and I was cutting my eyes over there looking at his sideburns. You know, I didn't want him to catch me looking at him, you know. And I was thinking, man, I'm in the car with George Jones. I can't believe it. And that just started a friendship. I mean, a really sincere, fun friendship till the day he died.
I got to meet him a few times, and I'll tell you what a genuine.
Yeah, and I had fun. We did shows together. I cut a couple of songs with him on his records. He did one with me on my records. But then we were in town for Fanfare one year, and he called a bunch of us over to Woodland Studio to sing this song, I Don't Need Your Rocking Chair.
And written by Billy Yates, wasn't it?
Billy Yates, yeah. Great guy.
Yeah.
It's a great songwriter and artist. And I got a picture of that, and we're all gathered around the microphone. Garth and Clint Black and Joe Diffie and me and Travis Tritt, and just a bunch of us sang on it, you know. And then it was a hit, and we all won CMA awards on it, and it was just a big fun. So George was really good to me.
Yeah, well, he's good to a lot of people, you know. I remember one time we were doing a TV show. Yeah, he was on a TV show, Statler Brothers TV show, and I did a tribute to him. She Thinks I Still Care, and he turned around and said, I didn't quite do it like that. I don't know whether it was a compliment or not, but I think he meant it as a compliment, you know. Because I was singing it so high, you know, he was singing it down here.
Well,
so.
I was on his show. He had a show for a while, and it was Ray Stevens and me and Allison Moore and do you remember D. Wayne that played? D. Wayne Phillips was his guitar player and sang harmony. Anyway, we're sitting on there in this little clip singing She Thinks I Still Care. We just off the top of our heads. And we put it on our Facebook. I went back and YouTube and found it. I mean, it's old. And we put it on our Facebook page just for the fun of it. And we had 1 million views. Well, people loved it. It was so grainy and all, but boy, it got shared.
It's whatever people like.
So yeah, we've had some good times, man.
There are lots more great stories up ahead on My Life, My Songs. Thanks for coming on back to My Life, My Songs. Now, what's new in store for T. Graham Brown?
Well, like I said, I'm working on the soul record. I'm getting ready to do a gospel. I'm going to do a hymns record.
Oh, good.
Like an
good.
acoustic hymns record. I did a record last year, an acoustic greatest hits that I'd never done an acoustic record before, and it's called Bare Bones, and everybody liked it. So I'm gonna do a Bare Bones hymn record. You know, Beulah Land. And
Oh yeah.
In the Garden, one of your great songs that you do, and you know the stuff out of the Broadman Hymnal, basically.
Yeah.
And I got to do I want to do a Stone Country covers record.
Oh, that'd be great.
You know, with just cut it Stone Country, and I want to do a T. Graham Brown, what I call a T. Graham Brown record. You know, and you know what, man, Hillbilly Tea, a company called Hillbilly Tea, got in touch with me, and they sell tea. There's a newer company, and it's coming on. They're getting in Walmart and all, and they sell different flavors of tea.
Yeah.
And they needed a hillbilly tea, and it's me, and they wrapped my bus in this bright lime green, and so I'm the hillbilly tea guy.
Well, man.
So I got few things. I'm doing the Grand Ole Opry this weekend. I do the Grand Ole Opry a lot, and just having fun.
Well, you know, what I'm so happy to hear you say is I wanna, because when you start saying I don't wanna, you know, it's all over.
Yeah,
but you keep saying I wanna, and I know T. Graham Brown is gonna keep on going, buddy.
Because it's fun.
Because it's fun. And buddy, I just want to thank you for coming out and doing this show with me today, man.
Well,
I'm so honored that you did it.
You're a great host
well,
and a great listener, and I appreciate it.
I'm
a great talker.
I get caught up in the stories sometimes, and I get so caught up that I don't know how to go to the next question sometimes. I don't even want to go to the next question
sometimes. Well, that means
sometimes.
you're a good listener. So.
Well, thank you, buddy, for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
You know I love you very much.
I love you too.
You and Nina both.
Thank you all for tuning in to My Life and My Songs with my guest, T. Graham Brown. And we'll see you next time. And God bless each and every one of you. See ya.